Alright.
Either way, we're struggling.
Well, we'll get this kicked off. Hello, welcome to the first...
I love you.
What is it, episode?
Yeah?
The episode? Okay. Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Adulting, where I invite my lovely friends over. Today's guest is Maddy, and I ask them about their trials and tribulations going through young adulthood and other things. Like
Hello.
puberty, or something like that. But yes. Hello, Maddy. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Maddy. That's all there is to be said.
Yeah, so Maddy's my coworker. We met during last summer's internship, and then now we're full-time coworkers, so I message her every day during meetings.
Making me try not to laugh challenge number 101 every single day.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 times now that I messaged you, like, my wife!
Is my wife.
Because,
It's the Borat thing.
yeah, because every time someone says, like, my wife in the meeting, which, like, it comes up for some reason. They're always like, something, my wife. I always go, my wife!
Is my wife.
In the background, my camera off, mic off, and then I catch myself, and I'm like, oh, I did that.
It happens every single time.
Did I do that? So today we're gonna be having some lovely food and tea. What is today's tea? Today's tea is organic peppermint herbal tea from Trader Joe's. Peppermint.
Thank you, Mr. Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate you, Joe, for the tea. Get it? Because Joe's like, coffee. We've also got some food that I completely ripped off from the other tea experience that we had.
Don't know what you're talking about.
And there's some mini bagels with salmon. I'll keep this one because I'm touching it. With salmon, smoked salmon, and chives on the top, and cream cheese on the bagel, not on the salmon. Well, like, under the salmon, right? Some mushroom and spinach quiche from Trader Joe's.
Thank you, Mr. Joe.
Shout out, Joe! Shout out, Joe! Some open-faced cucumber sammies. So really, they're just... It's not toast.
No.
Because when people talk about, like, open-faced sandwiches, sometimes they say toast, right?
It's not toasted.
It's not toasted.
It's not toasted. It can't be toast.
It's not toasted. But it has, like, the cream cheese mayo spread. I looked up the recipe. Cream cheese mayo spread with, like, dill and chives. The mayo specifically is Kewpie mayo, as you saw in the kitchen. And then Persian cucumbers on the top.
Hand sliced.
Hand
sliced.
Hand slice. No mandolin here. No. Can't afford that. On the second tier, we have, I don't remember what it's called. Oh, it's bean cake. It's bean cake with matcha.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Bean cake with matcha. These pretty little, they have like
Little flowers.
a flower on the top of it. And then we have sugar cookies. Toll House sugar cookies because it's Valentine's week almost. It's like a couple weeks till Valentine's.
Close enough. That's,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Some milk crepe and some egg tarts. Yay.
Soft applause.
Soft applause. So, while I pour us some tea, would you like to talk about how we inceptioned how this idea was inceptioned? Wait, no.
Something like that.
How we conceived how
Our
we came
child?
up with this idea of a tea time podcast. Yes, would you like to preface about that? Pour our tea.
Well, I'd be happy to talk. Am I allowed to say where it
Yeah,
occurred?
of course. I'm not getting paid for anything.
Oh, I wish you were.
Me too.
I wish I was. Well, I am
God
getting
knows
paid
no
in
titty,
food.
please.
So, set the scene. A beautiful mild day in Southern California. At the outdoor Irvine Spectrum Center, there lies a hidden gem called the Hello Kitty Cafe. And inside this diamond in the rough, thank you, ma'am, there occurs an event called afternoon tea.
Afternoon tea.
And you're like, that sounds interesting. Nobody else has ever been to this before, so we should try it, right?
Nobody else. Like, we were actually the first people ever.
Literally. It was great. Um, and so we went, like the VIPs we are, and instantly we're bougified. Like, in our hearts, we just instantly moved up, like, 2 socioeconomic classes.
Yes.
Instantly. And it was such an amazing experience of delicious tea and talking down to peasants, and then also eating delicious treats that the genius here said, what if we talked and ate delicious treats?
Yeah, and it's like recorded it. So this is my little selfish way of, hi, Mr. Cow. This is my little selfish way of forcing my friends to come over to talk to me and have tea time with me. And I get to record it.
I do hate her.
I get to record it. Yes.
This is the only way I could
Hello.
handle this.
You know, there is actually something I forgot. I tried making this. So at the Hello Kitty place that we were talking about, they had like these cat sugar cubes, like Hello Kitty shaped sugar cubes.
Like molded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually have tried to make some. Let me see if they turned out just fine. So I will be right back. But yeah, you can talk. I'll just BRB. I'll BRB. It'll be like 2 seconds.
Mr. Cow, please don't remove the tablecloth. Or do. That's fine. Hi. It's just us and an angry cat. I thought maybe we could get to know each other a little bit better now that she's out of the room. So I love her. She's back. Never mind.
They're like faces, because it was in a silicone mold, so I just pushed them in right now and I splashed its face.
It's kind of cute though.
It is kind of cute. I'll put it on the side just like they did at the cafe.
Thank you.
I don't know if you could see. Probably not. It's fine. It's okay. But I kind of smushed in its face. Next time I'll do better. Maybe I'll add like some honey or something like that. But yeah, so we had that tea time. We had our afternoon tea at Hello Kitty Cafe, and I thought it'd be really cool to like make a podcast out of it, so for like a couple of days, honestly, like maybe hours. It was like kind of stuck in my head. I was thinking about like, oh, what do I want this podcast to be like? Obviously, like I want to use it as an excuse to have tea with my friends, but what do I want it to be like? And the commonalities between my friends and me are that we're all like, I mean, everyone's figuring life out, but we're all like in the same age range, pretty much. And like, but all of our experiences are just so drastically different. And somehow we all end up in the same place, like in the same spaces, same circles, and sometimes similar interests. So I wanted to talk about like navigating all those things that we're navigating, and then, you know, how we got here, and how we're constantly changing, constantly growing, and figuring out young 20s, youthful 20s towards 30, and then we do this until I'm 40. Something like that.
And we rebrand it. Do it till 50.
Do it till 50. Yes.
You get to 65, and then it's retirement tea time.
Retirement.
Retirement.
I thought it'd be fun to have adulting. Also, I haven't made any graphics for this, but it's fine. But yeah, so I wanted to invite Maddy on because actually, she has like a completely different life than I do. And even though we ended up like working in the same place, our paths are like completely different. So I'm gonna ask like, so how did that kind of look like? Let's say like from when you exited high school, just like a brief summary of how you got to where you are now in the sunny state.
Love the sunny state. So for reference, I grew up in Michigan, and I went to school in Michigan. So graduating high school, so I have an older sister, and I guess I'll say her educational journey has been a little bit rocky. So as the younger and youngest child in the family, there can be that pressure to get it right. So coming out of high school and then going into college was like, it wasn't even a question. It was just like, oh, okay, where did you apply and get in? Like, where are you gonna go? There was no, are you going to college or not? So I went to U of M in Ann Arbor. Go Michigan, go blue, woo, right?
Ooh.
But that first year was like, it wasn't that I wanted to be there. It was I had to be there. It was the family responsibility, right? So short story, or like the short version, condensed version, is it didn't really work out that great. I had a lot of social anxiety and depression adding up, so I ended up withdrawing within the first year, so like the second semester. But I went through the full withdrawing process so I could go back. And after 2 years working at Target,
Shout out, not sponsored, but shout out.
That's right. I decided I've had enough of this. I'd like to go back now. So I made the decision for myself, and I went back to school, and then I graduated. So I'm like I'm like 2 years behind if like the other people that I went to high school with, but I'm very happy with where I ended up. The one and only internship I did was with
Redacted.
Hey, what's up? And then that's where we continued. So
Yeah, so how was that, like, entire process of... Well, I guess first I want to ask, like, so what did you study in college? First, you said it's drawing, right?
Drawing?
Did you study that, or was
Oh,
that,
yeah,
like...
so it's a hobby of mine. I like to do portraits, but it wasn't something that I wanted to study because the other family pressure was nobody can be successful as an artist. Wink. So I did not major in art, but I thought that I wanted to major in physics.
So you started in physics?
I did, and then I quickly changed that because physics is hard. So I studied computer science. That is my major.
Very nice. Okay, so why, when you decided to change majors, I guess when I like first talk about all the college stuff, and then I want to talk about overarching whatevers. Why'd you go? Like, how'd you figure out about computer science, and then why did you want to start in physics? Like, what was the inclination to go physics first, and then be like, just kidding, I found this new thing, computer science. How was that journey looking like? I'm also going to get, like, you're free to as well.
Thank you. So, in high school, I took a few AP classes, as some kids do. And one of them was AP Physics. Well, I took normal physics, and then the following year I took AP Physics, which... I mean, it was fun, and I just thought it was so cool learning how the world works. Just like at the beginning of the year, my teacher did like just like a very simple experiment of like he had a Nerf gun, and then he had an extra Nerf dart in his hand.
that.
Not sponsored. And he said, okay, if I shoot the Nerf gun and drop the Nerf dart from my hand at the same time, which one will hit the ground first? And everyone's like, well, probably the one in his hand, because it's like it's just going down. The other one's going forward. And like this is before we've learned anything about physics. And then when he did it, they both hit the ground at the same time.
Crazy. And
it was just so like mind-blowing that you could actually put a formula, like put information into a formula and get it out. And it's like very, very close to correct, or like a very good approximation. And that was just mind-blowing. So that's why I first decided... Let's continue with physics in college. I didn't know what I wanted to do, though. I just thought the topic was interesting. And then the other thing that I've always spent a lot of time on computers and like playing video games. Facts. So my advisor, when I first started at college, asked like things I was interested in, and he suggested I also take the intro computer science course just to see if I liked it, and boy was he right. So that's when I was like, okay, let's switch. This is a different kind of like that passion where I was like, this is what I want to keep learning, and I could see like a future for myself. That's why I stayed.
Yeah, it's good. I feel like especially when we're young, we have like, well, I don't know. So I grew up a little bit different, where at every stage of my life, even if I was like 8 years old, I needed to start thinking about what I wanted to do for the future. Mr. Cow. Meet the cow. So I always was like changing jobs in my head, like changing potential jobs in my head and things like that. And then going into high school, I always thought I would do something like this man. Sorry, my cat's just being a little sussy-wussy.
I think he likes tablecloth.
Yeah. Entering high school, I think I wanted to do something more along the lines of, like, teaching. I don't know. Honestly, I don't remember. It was a long time ago. But I had something in that area, something that wasn't, like, STEM related. I'm going to, really quick, just grab my cat and ban him from the premises.
He wants to participate. But, he's a bit of a troublemaker.
Sorry, bud.
He's a very cute troublemaker. Cat removed.
Cat removed. So, yeah, so I didn't think I wanted to do something STEM related, because, like, there's not a lot of pressure to do something STEM related. The stereotype, I think, is, like, you go somewhere in STEM and that's where you make the big bucks. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm not trying to make big bucks, I'm trying to have a good time. Boy, have things changed. But, yeah, so then I ended up taking a class also in high school. That was like an intro to computer science class. And I took it in high school. I'm surprised they even had it at the time. Now there's so much more infrastructure built around learning computer science in high school. But at the time, this was like the one class plus AP computer science. And I took that and I really enjoyed it. And then I decided to join my high school's robotics team. And then that's when I got really interested in like engineering and the engineering process and just doing cool things to make cool things. So that's why I went into computer engineering into college. And I kind of was just like dead set on that. So I had like my whole figuring it out process much earlier just because of like the pressures of like figure out what you want to do right now so that you can like gun for that. And I was like, I'm like 8-year-old Mina going like, what? I don't want to be a nurse. Blood's scary. Maybe I'll be a lawyer. Maybe I'll be a dentist. Maybe I'll be a ballerina. And it's like, no arts. Yeah, same thing with my family. It's like, you're not going to make money there. Maybe a chef. No, you're not going to make money there. What, you want to cook for In-N-Out?
Maybe.
Yeah, nice. Like, what? In-N-Out's so good.
But they kind of pay, you know?
Yeah, it's always like the better ones. But yeah, so I had that journey like much earlier. And then, you know, the internship during college, and then now we're here. So we take like very different patheronies to getting there. I think mine was like a little more directed because it was like, figure out what you want to do, 8-year-old. So
it's interesting you had the access to like a computer science course in your high school.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, now at my old high school if they've added that since I've left, or if they still haven't, like if it's a regional kind of thing, or just like as it becomes a more popular field, high schools will start adding that. But like it's kind of sad that we both have that same like art, like there's no way art could be
profitable.
Yeah, or you could never
How
be
are you gonna
successful.
feed your family with paint?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like very pessimistic. But there are a lot of successful art. Like, sure, that's more of like a gig kind of deal. I think more often than not. But like, I mean, even just like graphic design is an art, but it's also like art and technology. There's a lot more to it. I think maybe just people don't know all of the possibilities there are in that field.
I think the rough part about it is that what I like to think, and obviously I was not a parent around the time that we were being parented, but like, is that the struggles that they went through were completely different, right? Like they also went through the recession the time they had children. So all of that was about like job security. And because art is like such a gig job, it's a lot easier for you to get gigs when the entire like overall economy is booming and being stimulated, where when you're in a recession, it's like everyone's just trying to keep their money, everyone's just trying to stay fed, and really only the necessities get popped up. So I think that's kind of where that fear that our parents had gets instilled, or they were trying to instill that into us so we can have more secure jobs, so in the event of like something like that. So I don't necessarily think they were, like, thinking, oh, in the event that this happens, but they were thinking of, like, job security. And that's kind of where I see it. But in regards to, like, computer science being much more, like, openly taught to younger ages, I definitely think it's been expanding. I'm pretty sure, like, there's no shot your high school doesn't have, like, some intro to CS class right now. Because for me, that was the first time they were hosting it. So I took that intro to CS class. That was our pilot class. Very first time it was being taught. And I'm pretty sure if I go back now, there are probably other classes in between that intro and AP, which at the time there wasn't. I'm sure they've set up a lot of infrastructure to that, especially because of, like, the direction that technology is going. And, like, that being said, I'm kind of happy that we're in the tech space because that allows us to be a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of anything that's being produced. Like, yeah. So it feels kind of good. But yeah, so you said you grew up in Michigan. I never had to leave. I never wanted to leave California.
It's an important distinction.
Yeah, I never wanted to leave California, and so I never did. I never tried to. I don't know. I kind of want to move to, like, New York for a couple of years. But for you, like, how was that moving out from a place you're very familiar with to a whole new state and starting a new job in the middle of a pandemic? All of that stuff. How did that go for you?
When you put it like that, it does seem like kind of a big deal.
You did a good job.
Thank you.
Anyone who navigates, like, the past couple of years, anyone who's navigated that, like, with pure finesse needs a reward. Like, a medal or something. Like an Olympic gold medal for just, like, survival.
Like an egg tart, maybe?
An egg tart.
It's golden.
Yeah. Or, like, a milk rep or something like that. Yeah.
So, for me, I don't think it was that big of a deal for me because I already was not living with my family for a few years. I was living in an apartment with my long-term partner. So it wasn't like I was like, I'm leaving my family behind. Like that wasn't even like a factor in it. And I know for a lot of people who started at the same time as us, that was like a huge factor was navigating being alone or just being away from that comfort zone that you've been in for a long time. So I would say that was in my mind, it's a good thing is that, like, I had, like, the training wheels on while I was in the area but not living with them, and then I made the big move. That helped a lot. But also just the mindset of maybe I won't be living here forever. Like, I don't have to be in Irvine, California, 2,500 miles away from where I was before forever. And I can always go back and visit. So, like, there's no sense of, like, finality. What was this?
Yeah, I think that's a word.
Like, I can always go back and see them or call them on the phone. There's always a connection that there is to be had.
Yeah, I think strength in that understanding is really important too, because at the end of the day, whether or not you want to stay somewhere, life just takes you places. Sure, and, like, you can't guarantee that you're going to end up in the places that you want to be. I'm still kind of, like, figuring that out because I'm like, I want to be here. I'm like, I want to be here. And even though I'm, like, flexible about where I want to be, I am dead set on going where I want to be, which that opportunity is not always going to be, like, very easily handed to me. So I think that you're not giving yourself, like, enough credit. I think it is, like, a pretty big move. And even though you say you had those, like, training wheels, where you were living away from your family, and, like, so moving farther wasn't that big of a deal, in terms of leaving them, because you can always come back. It's still, like, a big, I think, I wouldn't know, it's not like I moved out, but I would think that it's a large obstacle, at least mentally. You're in a completely different space and everything. That being said, like, all the people that you're used to being surrounded with back in Michigan, you're not surrounded by anymore. So when it comes to, like, maintaining those friendships, how do you do that? And even, like, how have you gone about so far in your time here making new friends? Like me, like me.
Hey. Well, I guess I should go back a little ways, right? So in college, or in my college journey talk, I mentioned I've had social anxiety. It did not go away. I still do have social anxiety. It's gotten a lot better, especially after working in retail. Like this, it's like the worst way to learn how to talk to people, but boy, is it effective because they will just yell at you if you don't do it well. So the friends that I've had in the area in Michigan where I lived before, like I wasn't going out very often. Like I didn't spend a lot of time with friends. Like it sounds really like depressing, probably because it is, but like I've always been a very introverted person, mostly because of that anxiety where it's too much to go out and face anxiety, so I just stay in and do things on my own. So the long-term friends I do have, I mostly just like message like with like Facebook Messenger, like well every now and then we would meet up for trivia, like bar trivia.
Ooh.
But, like, that was kind of the extent of our going out.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. So, in that respect, it wasn't a huge difference moving away for that either, because I didn't really have, like, a very active, like, going out social life. And you also have to, like, factor in the pandemic, as you mentioned.
Oh,
Thank you
yes,
very much.
the panties.
The panties. So, even if I did want to start going out more, I couldn't really because everything was getting locked down. So like even our going out for like bar trivia, we couldn't do that for a while.
Mm-hmm. And now Omarion's back on world tour. So
look at us now.
Yep. So Omicron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Let's make sure we're on the same page. Yeah.
What's next? Come on.
Yeah. Pie on Pie Day. Ooh.
That would they can't call the next variant pie. They just can't.
Yeah,
because people will like it.
Yeah, everyone's gonna want it.
Like they already kind of want it, so like
yeah,
that's not allowed. But meeting new friends. So I talked about kind of like my existing dismal friend group that I just don't see for years at a time.
Those are the best ones though.
But yeah, really, because I know I could always like reach out to them and we just pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
Those
are the best ones.
Not too much expectation. We could do better though, if we wanted to. But meeting new friends, like honestly, I feel like amazing friends have just been like dropped upon me. Where like I am like not doing anything to be deserving of friends. I'm just kind of like existing.
No self-deprecating.
As talk. Me, okay. Well, not saying I'm like an unlikable person. I'm just like sitting there. Looking around, perceiving wonderful people.
Just simply existing.
A wonderful person comes over and says, "Hey, do you want to come to my birthday party?" And I'm like, "Yes." And like the social anxiety is like you don't know anyone there except for her. Like it's gonna be so awkward. And then the reality of it is, it was actually pretty good. And everyone was so nice, and I had a great time. So it's like. I think we're in the era of just trying new things that maybe you don't think would fit with your personality, or like if you've resigned yourself to be like socially anxious, just like kind of pushing back against that and doing new things. And then the friends kind of pop up, Yeah. So like a lot of it has been through work though. I will say that has helped, is just kind of being forced to interact with a lot of new people for like team building stuff. It's kind of like when you're in school and you have a class with somebody, and so like you're just kind of like forced either like through like group work or like sitting near them, and then you just kind of become friends. Like I feel like it's like the same mechanism as that has served, is just like maybe like proximity, but in a good way.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I remember. Yeah, I did invite you to my birthday party.
It was great.
And you weren't even, like, moved in yet.
Oh, yeah.
You were like, oh, yeah, I arrive in, like, 3 days or something like that. And I was like, dude, just come through. If you're not too tired, pull up. But I was kind of worried as well, because I have, like, a less... How do you say this? I feel like if you look at me, you wouldn't be able to tell that I have, like, social anxiety, but God, am I terrified of people. So I'm not sure if I really have like social anxiety in regards of like I'm afraid of interacting with people. I'm just scared of people, period, right? It's just the entities. They're terrifying.
Existence.
Like you What do you mean other people exist as well and I have to, like, to be a functioning human in society, I have to interact with them? That's scary to me. I want to live in my little bubble and just play video games forever or something. Mm-hmm. Dance in my little bubble forever. But, so that was also, like, a scary thing for me, like, hosting that party, because I was worried about, oh God, like, I'm going to have to help all of these people interact with each other. Because I can't interact with every single one of them at the same time. So I have to get them to interact with each other so I can go interact with other people. Excuse me. But Maddie, if you were a paid actor, you did great. Like, they're fantastic. Blended right in. And that actually made me really happy to see. It was in the beginning parts of the party, like, everyone was, like, mingling, socializing. And no one was really, like, left in their own groups. I think towards the end, that's when, like, it was, like, everyone had found, like, their spot. Mm-hmm. Everyone had found their spot and they wanted to, like, be with. But I think that's fine, because that was the gradual nature of a party. So it was really nice to have, like, all my friends around. But the coworker thing, I get. Because I have become, like, good friends with a couple of our close coworkers. I am still very hesitant on making friends in the workplace. Not because I, like, don't like them. I think that everyone I've met so far at work is, like, a very pleasant person. I just, like, I have this urge to separate, like, my work from my friendships. Mm-hmm. And, like, I'll value the ones that I have that are overlapping. And, like, I'll really value those and, like, treasure those. But I won't go out of my way to make any more. I'm like, I will make friends elsewhere. And that's a rough thing to do. Like, a really rough thing. Because how the frick do you make friends as an adult?
And unless you're, like, you have to really, really work at it, right?
Yeah.
Like, join, like, either if you do, like, sports, like, sport teams, like, mm-hmm. Our one coworker does a lot of, like, like, sporting stuff. So she has friends in that way, but...
She's very social.
Yes.
And very sociable. She's very good at the making friends thing, and it
really
astounds me every single time, because I'm like, you have managed to meet more people in your N months here than I have in my entire life here. Which is, like, obviously an exaggeration. But, you know, like, it's still a crazy thing to do. Like, constantly looking at her for, like, guidance on how to make friends outside of work.
Yeah, I definitely find myself, like, kind of watching that type of person and see, like, what it is that draws others to them. I think it's really just, like, the openness to talk with somebody as if they already are your friend.
Yeah.
It makes you kind of feel, like, closer to them. So maybe that is that. But it's interesting, though, how you mentioned, like, trying to put in that separation between work life and personal life. And I think it's a really smart decision, because even though I have kind of, I don't want to say, like, I've been lulled into, like a feeling of safety, you don't actually know, like, there at any moment you could overstep that line. And even though you feel like, oh, we're friends, it's okay to say something, when you're also coworkers, you don't really know where that line exists.
Yeah.
And it might be a lot closer for some people. Even though you think you're friends, then it would cause work issues and, like, a snowball thing. So I don't think it's a bad idea to try and put some separation into that.
Yeah, I think with so I was involved in a lot of, like, organizations in college. And I think when it comes to that period of time when you are in college, those blurred lines, they make sense. And no one really cares. Like, you could be buddies with someone you're working with in an organization and, like, have an argument about the organization and then be fine still as buddies. It's fine to blur those lines. They're not as official. They're not as, I guess, I don't want to say, like, important to the actual productivity that goes forward. But you go into, like, work life, it kind of is. Like, you can log into your computer. We both work remote. But you can log into your computer and then just be, like, immediately soured, like, that the person's on. And then you have to, like, talk to them or something like that. It's harder to separate, like, those feelings. I've never had an experience with that so far. But that's what I imagine it would be like if you had, like, a good friendship with somebody at work and then something were to happen. And those blurred lines were the reason why it was hard for you to be a productive, like, person at work.
Like dating in the workplace.
Oh, geez. Dating in the workplace.
friending in the workplace.
That's always, like, such a mind-boggling thing to me. Because, like, I think I have very distinct... Excuse me. I think whenever I meet people, like, interact with them, and I've formed a type of relationship with them, that's very distinct. It's very, very distinct. It will take, like, a miracle or something. I don't know. It's, like, something really big for me to, like, change that. So if I see you as, like, your coworker and friend, that's it for, like, 10 years, you know? That's it until I, like, feel like I don't know you anymore and have to meet you all over again. Mm-hmm. So dating your coworkers is such a strange thing to me. Because everyone I meet immediately at work, I'm like, you're a coworker. That's it. That's it.
Like, there's no room for the romantic feeling to grow.
Yeah, because if you think about it, I'm already having a rough time. Or I already don't allow myself to be like, you're a coworker and you could be a friend. Mm-hmm. It's like that has to come more naturally. It'll be a lot harder for you're a coworker and a potential? That's like so much. It's like harder for it to come naturally. Because especially with like HR. I don't know how things work about dating in the workplace.
Yeah. It's because some people that we know are actually married and they work in not the same team but the same, I guess, like overarching department. Or like maybe group, I don't know, like section of the company, and it's fine. But I feel like the people that you would maybe have that kind of like development would be in your closest team, and that gets very dicey because
you're like, it's like conflict of interest.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Like manager.
It's like I'd gas up my boo thing during stand up. They say something stupid, I'm like, yeah, I agree. I agree.
Here's you did great. Your performance this year has been phenomenal. Here's your 70% pay raise.
Yeah, if my boo thing asked me for a performance review, for me to review their performance, I'd be like, fantastic, great head. Fantastic. Yeah. So
exactly.
But obviously there are people who can make those distinctions and not cross those lines. Mm-hmm. I, on the other hand,
have no self-control.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's why I'm very selective with the people that I'm like I'm romantically interested in. Because it's like when I'm romantically interested. And it's different like dating someone or like just sleeping with them for a bit and versus dating, right? Mm-hmm. I consider and versus seeing them romantically. Just because you're dating someone, just because you're, you know, like fooling around or whatever, that doesn't mean you see them as a romantic interest. But the people that I do end up perceiving as like, oh, you're like, you could be my, you know, like you could be in my like fanfic or something like that, right? Like
my smut.
You can know. Oh no. It's like for those people, absolutely no self-control. I'm gonna gas you up. I'll like pat your head. You can lay on my islander thighs. Like, I don't know. It's just, I go straight degenerate. I'm okay with that. That's what makes me a fantastic lover. I think.
See, social anxiety? Who? Come sit on my lap.
Exactly. All the barriers are no barriers there. Mm-hmm. You're my coworker, but you could be my boss. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just kidding.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
It's
for all
fine.
intents and purposes, that was a joke.
This is a team building event. We're fostering honesty and comfort with one another.
Good. How's your food?
It's delicious.
It's the same food I'm eating, but like...
It's delicious on my palate. How's it on yours?
It's pretty good. Yeah. It's pretty good. I'm actually quite a fan. Love the bagels. And like needed the smoked salmon. I do like the cucumber. It's like refreshing, and so I'm gonna have it at the end. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have one at the end.
It was good.
The quiche's pretty good. It's a little heavy, so I think next time I'll just put like one of them on the plate, or one quarter of it. Mm-hmm. Like two quarters, right? 2 quarters of it on the plate, one for each of us. Mm-hmm. And then this one's good as well. But I've also like had these. I really like these. They're a little on the heavier side.
I haven't had a lot of this, so it's like brand new, new experience, new delicacy for me.
I did want to avoid, because last time So all the food there that we had at the Hello Kitty Cafe was really tiny. But there was a lot. They also gave us a mousse on the side.
Oh, that was big, too.
It was
Just a big
ginormo.
cup.
Yeah. And I don't know if you noticed, I don't have any fruits here. Don't ask why. I just forgot. I love fruit, though.
Oops.
I'm not like one of those people that are like, no fruit, nasty, it's
Well,
colorful.
is a cucumber a fruit or vegetable?
No, it's a
By
fruit.
definition, is it?
Yeah,
It's a fruit?
it has seeds.
So you have fruit.
It is a fruit. But yeah, I didn't want to like overcrowd the tower of stuff because last time we couldn't finish it all.
Yeah.
Which is surprising.
Surprising, really.
Yeah, they were all so like tiny.
I think it was the delayed delivery between the starter mousse, which was exquisite.
I
It
know.
was delicious.
Yeah, I was thinking of like getting some
Yeah.
from like the bakery, but I was like, I'm not gonna finish it. And then when she leaves, who's gonna finish it? Not me.
Mr. Cow.
It's true.
You would
Mr. Cow.
gladly.
Yeah.
But I approve of all of these the delicate treats and pastries, and you're a wonderful chef. Thank you.
For the two things that I made that I hardly even made. I just assembled
All of
them.
this is made from scratch. I don't know what you're talking about. This is an ancient family recipe.
ancient family recipe.
Ancient. Passed down by ancestors, right? This is rose petal frosting with sweet almond extract and
Dude, that sounds
hand
gas.
sliced sprinkles.
We should actually make those.
Can you? I mean, wait, the sprinkles or the
rose almond frosting.
That probably would be really good, actually.
Yeah, or maybe even just like a rose icing and then like an almond cookie. Almond loft house cookies. That'd be kind of
I
cool.
think that sounds good.
Yeah.
I was having a good time last night. And by having a good time means like I was home alone and influenced by something. And for some reason I had a really good idea. And the really good idea was to hand whip whipped cream.
Oh.
It was a huge mess. Because I'm like,
Oh.
I have the bowl and the whisk, and I'm like out of breath trying to, like, if you've ever hand whipped whipped cream, it takes some strength.
Or like eggs.
Do you put eggs in it? Wait, what?
No, like, or like if you're trying to meringue them.
Oh, yeah. Well, so I was just literally just making, yeah, I got you. I've made
Yeah.
meringue before, but I did not do it by hand.
anything. We're spoiled by mixers.
We really are.
We're spoiled by mixers. Like our ancestors used to make whipped cream, I think.
Our ancestors, it was just the yearly tradition. Make
think.
whipped cream. It was probably really, really good. I mean, it did turn out. I will
That's good.
say. But it took like 30 minutes, and I had like cream splattered all over the ground, like on the cabinets,
Smart.
like the side of the sink. It got on the stove. Like, it was just everywhere, and I'm like, I have to do this. Like, in my mind, I knew I had to do it. And then I made a cake. It's like a very mediocre cake, but I put almond extract in it, and that made it a lot better. So the moral of the story is I think an almond cookie would be good.
I wasn't even paying attention to like, oh, why did she start the story? I was just like, yeah, facts. I was like, oh,
And
cool.
I made whipped cream, so...
An almond cookie would be very good.
And I broke my whisk.
Oh no!
It just like fell apart, the handle and the whiskey part.
Did the wire thing do that thing where like it like popped out and like turned into
Yeah.
it?
Well,
like, just
it was still like, there's like a little metal piece that held that part together, but that popped out of the handle.
Oh,
so
okay, I see.
It didn't go full like spaghetti.
I've definitely had full spaghetti before. Like full,
kinda
the
scary.
whisk popped out and it was just a pop, and then you had to like bend them back into the hole.
So would it stay? Like if you put them back?
No, at that point just get a new whisk, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like not adhered in.
Yeah.
So at that point just like get a new whisk.
See, that's my fault for putting it through the dishwasher like daily. For no reason, just because I wanted to.
I see. I feel like the dishwasher is like a very adult thing to do. It's like, oh, I'm like using this. I'm not sure. Okay, maybe I think that way because like when I was growing up, we didn't use the dishwasher. That shit's our drying rack. Actually, even right
I did that
now,
before, too.
it is currently our drying rack. Like, I am not using that.
It works though.
It does work. Yeah, I use it when I'm like, ooh, I should like clean the dishwasher. Not like I should clean the dishes. I'm like, I should clean the dishwasher. So I'll run the dishwasher. Yeah. So more parts about like, I don't know, I feel like even though these are things that I've been doing since like college. Oh, that's like a distinction that I want to make for sure is like, yes, I lived like an adult in college because I lived alone, supplied money for myself, did like all of these things. It still feels, even though I'm doing like the same things now in terms of living, I feel different. Did you feel the same way? Or am I just delusional?
So, you're talking about, like, after graduating and, like, starting your career?
Yeah, specifically after starting the career. Because even after I graduated, and I was doing all the things, again, that I'm doing right now, in terms of living, in my living space, right? They're exactly the same, but after I graduated, it still felt like college. But once I started work, it was, like, different. I just felt like I was doing adult things, even though these are things that I've been doing since pretty much youth. Like, I've been washing dishes since a kid, but, like, why do I feel like an adult when I do it now?
No, I agree. I have kind of felt that, like, getting my stuff together kind of feeling. Like, yeah, I'm mature. I'm grown up. I'm doing the dishes. I'm a woman.
I match my socks.
I sure did, honestly. Actually, the grown-up thing about my socks is I started buying socks other than the color black. Like, I'm always like grab the Hanes like all black pack, and I started getting other color socks, and I think that is a sign of growing up because I want to put the effort into matching the right colors.
What an interesting take.
Right?
I am reverting in the opposite direction.
You're like, I don't want to mess with this.
Literally, I'd have a bunch of, like, ankle socks, different colors, like, before. Mm-hmm. And, like, sometimes I'd match, sometimes I wouldn't. And now I'm like, the real adult thing to do, and this is my head, right? The real adult thing to do, just buy all black socks. So you never have to match them, because they're always gonna match.
It's true, though.
Thank God there's no left and right sock.
Oh, man.
We'd
be done for.
We'd be, like...
barefoot. 24/7.
Yeah, I'm just wearing sandals all the time at that point. But that's so interesting that you're like, I want to put the effort in to matching socks now.
I think it's, if I want to continue the thought, I think it's actually because I've been trying to build my professional wardrobe. And since we work remote, it's not, like, super necessary. Because you can get, like, if you want to wear pajama pants, you can wear pajama pants. Like, no one's going to see that. Unless you get up in the middle of the meeting. And that's not going to, like, scurry away to go get water. And then let everyone see my Batman lounge pants. Like, that's not going to happen.
I've definitely, like, for a lot of, like, clothes nowadays, there's, like, bodysuits. Bodysuit versions of it. So you have, like, a bodysuit, like, dress shirt. Like, a bodysuit, like... mock neck or something like that, and they'll look really professional up top, but you kind of look like you're going to do the beach at the bottom.
Yeah.
There have been days, I will openly admit, like, there have been days I'm just wearing the bodysuit. I'm just like, who's going to see the bottom half? Who will see the bottom half? No one.
And if it's summer, like, you're already hot, so, like...
yeah. Why do I want to wear
temperature
pants?
Regulation.
Yeah. This is a survival tactic.
I think that's... who's going to see the bottom? You're right.
Yeah. As long as I don't walk into the office like that.
Yeah, maybe don't do that. Unless you're trying to find that boo thing. Then.
And they get fired. Methods. And then it's no longer a problem. Right?
You're right.
So you get fired. And then who cares about HR? Like, yeah. HR who? I don't work here.
Paycheck who?
Severance, though.
Is there a severance? Like,
there should be. I think it's like mandatory. Severance pay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Things to know.
Things to know for when I get fired.
Hopefully not.
How's the tea? So I got peppermint tea because I asked Maddie, hey, what's your favorite tea? And then she said, peppermint black tea. And I couldn't find it. So I just picked one that said peppermint. I was just like, that says peppermint.
I'm sorry. I could have supplied the peppermint black tea.
No,
actually, what really happened was she said, what kind of tea do you like? And then my social anxiety said, you have to be a very general person. You have to be okay with anything. You cannot actually tell her a kind of tea that you like because you need to be very open and considerate of another person's feelings. And so I had a whole paragraph of, I like every kind of tea, and I'm really up for it. And then I'm like, you know what? I'll just give her an answer.
And then she said chamomile.
Yeah.
She said chamomile. Oh, but that makes you sleepy. So, peppermint black tea.
I said I don't like tea, actually. I hate it.
I'm going to come on to this podcast one day, and someone's going to tell me that they don't like tea. And we're going to roll up with, instead of this tea set, instead of a tea set, and instead of this teapot, we're just going to roll up with, like, milk teas and, like, boba. And that'll be tea time. It's gonna happen. Someone's gonna make it happen. I know it. They're gonna be like, oh, I don't really like hot tea. I don't really like that. I like milk tea. I like boba. Like bubble tea.
Can do. There are so many boba tea places around here.
Oh, there's a lot.
It's
there's
amazing.
A lot.
Like, in Michigan, like, they exist. Period. They exist. But, like, I have to go, like, all the way to the college town to get boba tea. So
college kids love bubble tea.
They do. They really do.
Yeah. Because it's like, who needs candy? And then who wants, like, a dark cup of coffee? And who wants tea? Yeah, the nice in between. I don't know. It's also just really good. I mean, like, culturally, I think, like, Asian drinks have been popping off, you know?
Yeah. Like, was it Vietnamese coffee?
Viet coffee. Love Viet coffee.
Haven't tried it.
Soju.
Hey.
Soju. Okay. All right. So I think we're almost done with our tea. Tea's getting cold. The food's almost done. Do you have any final remarks to say to the world and to me? I don't know. Before hopping off.
I have a final remark about people who like boba.
Yeah,
it's very important. If you like boba, you were the child who chewed on the Polly Pocket clothing.
What the?
You were.
There were people who chewed on the Polly Pocket clothing?
Miss, have you been, like, out of the loop for the past, like, this is the thing. People chew on the Polly Pocket clothing. It's with the, it's, like, a little rubbery, a little springy. Just pop the pink jacket in your mouth and just, it's pretty good. You don't eat it, but you chew on it.
All right, you're done. You're done.
The people need this knowledge.
Well, thank you for joining us. Tune in next week again when this happens. I'm going to be uploading this on YouTube because I want to see it again. Anyway, bye.
Bye.
Cool. I'm going to turn that camera off now.